everybody, it's Charisma of Charisma's Corner, and we are in the Little Pink Barn. And today we're doing like kind of a blast from the past. I have perfect posies here, and I'm pretty sure I designed this in my first year of designing. And what I love about it is very simple and it's fat quarter friendly. So you need 12 fat quarters for each of the flowers, and then a half a yard for the centers, and then a border and background and binding. But it goes together so quickly, and it's a great way to showcase some of your favorite fabrics. This was made before I started working with fabric manufacturers, honestly, so I just chose random fat quarters from my stash, and that's what this is perfect for. I mean, if you want a coordinated one, have at it, but it's also great just to use up what you have, and many of us are trying to do that, and I happen to like bright colors and pastels, and well, I like any color really, but and yellow was always one of my favorite colors. And in fact, that print is one of my favorite yellow prints. I still have some in my own personal stash. It's just kind of sometimes hard to find perfect yellows, and so when I see one, I grab it. Anyways, so we'll get going. It's very simple. We even have like a little bit of applique, which is not something I do a lot of, but I kind of want to get into it a little bit more. So we have 3 or 4 parts of our block here. And so we're going to start with, let me just turn that on. We're going to start with our first square. You need to cut 4 of these squares, and then you need 3 background squares for each big flower petal that you have. And we're just going to mark that line. Mine is already marked, and then we're just going to do the stitch and flip or snowball method on 3 sides of these squares. So we'll go ahead and sew that line. Okay, so now that we have that sewn, we're just going to go ahead and cut that little triangle off. And now we're going to go ahead and press that. Well, actually, let's cut all of those triangles off. Okay, and now we have all 4 squares done. I'm just going to go ahead and sew this together. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew those 2 halves together, and you can pin the center seam if you want. Okay, and now we have our block. I'm just going to go ahead and press that seam. Okay, so we have the foundation for that done. And now here's the center. I've chosen this light purple color. This is an Andover basic, and I have a piece of interfacing here. You can use a scrap piece of fabric. You can do whatever. There's a template in the pattern to trace the circle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that wrong side down on the fabric. No, I'm putting it. It's not fusible web, it's interfacing. So we're going to go ahead and put that right on the right side of the fabric, and we're going to go ahead and sew around that whole circle. Okay, so now I'm going to trim around that circle about 1/4 of an inch. And you can go in and just kind of do some simple little cuts around. You can just go ahead and do some simple little cuts around the edge, just because when we flip this and turn it inside out, it might be easier for those curves. So then I'm just going to kind of go ahead and lift this interfacing from the fabric, because I'm going to cut a little hole in the center of this. It, again, doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to give ourselves a little area to turn this inside out. And we're just gonna flip this inside out. And if you have a little turning tool, you can use that to go around the edges. Okay, so now we have our circle, and I'm just going to go ahead and press that. Okay, and now you can stitch that on. You can use whatever stitch that you'd like. You can just use the plain stitch on your sewing machine, or a more decorative stitch, an applique stitch. You can do it by hand, but my machine is just a straight stitch machine, so I'm just going to go ahead and run that through. And there is our perfect posy block. Isn't that great? This is so great. It could be used for a bag as well, a pillow, just anything. It's sort of just a fun thing. You could do some embellishments in the center because it's pretty big, and a 12 blocks, 12 fat quarters makes a 67 by 86 quilt with the borders. All right, so I hope you had fun today in the Little Pink Barn with me, and I am so happy to see any of your projects. I love seeing them, share them on social medias. I'm now on TikTok, so like this page, share it. I'm on Instagram at Charisma Horton and Facebook. All right, have a great day. Bye.